One word carved into a wooden post. No bodies, no blood, no struggle. 90 colonists gone, and that word is all they left. In 1584, Sir Walter Raleigh sent an expedition to scout land for Queen Elizabeth, who wanted an English foothold in the New World. Philip Amadas and Arthur Barlow sailed to the Outer Banks and returned praising Roanoke Island and the Second people who lived there. The Queen named the territory Virginia and knighted Raleigh. He needed to plant a permanent colony by 1591 or lose his charter. The first attempt, in 1585, was mostly a military operation under Governor Ralph Lane, with roughly 600 men crossing the Atlantic aboard 7 ships. Relations with local tribes soured, supplies ran thin, and when a resupply mission was delayed, Lane abandoned the outpost and sailed home with Sir Francis Drake in 1586. Richard Grenville arrived 2 weeks later, found the fort empty, and left a small detachment behind to hold the claim. The second attempt landed in 1587. John White led a new group of settlers, intending to establish a colony on the Chesapeake Bay. The ship's pilot, Simon Fernandez, refused to sail further and forced White's colonists to stay on Roanoke instead. Among them was White's daughter, pregnant with the child who would become Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. White sailed back to England that same year for supplies, leaving behind more than 100 men, women, and children. He expected to return within months. The Anglo-Spanish War intervened, tying up English ships for years, and White did not make it back to Roanoke until 1590. What he found was a settlement stripped bare. The houses were gone, the site was enclosed by a new palisade, and there was no sign of struggle, no bodies, no scattered belongings, nothing burned. Carved into a post at the entrance was a single word, croatoan. Earlier, White had told the colonists that if they left, they should carve a Maltese cross nearby if they'd gone under duress. There was no cross. White believed the word meant the colonists had relocated to Croatoan Island, roughly 50 miles south, where Mantio's people lived. He wanted to sail there immediately. But a storm rolled in, his ship lost an anchor, and the crew refused to risk the crossing. White returned to England without ever setting foot on Croatoan to confirm his theory. He never got another chance. Within years, speculation spread that the colonists had assimilated into nearby tribes, a theory already appearing in writings by 1605. Jamestown settlers later investigated and heard reports the Roanoke colonists had been massacred, along with second-hand stories of native villages containing people with European features. None of it was ever confirmed. For over 2 centuries, interest in Roanoke faded. It resurfaced in 1834 when historian George Bancroft wrote about the colony, casting the settlers, especially the infant Virginia Dare, as founding figures of American identity. That framing stuck, and the story of the lost colony entered the national imagination as a mystery rather than a footnote. No mass grave has ever surfaced. No confirmed remains of the settlers have been found on Roanoke, on Croatoan, or anywhere along the Carolina coast. What's left is the word itself, cut into a fence post by someone's hand, in a settlement that otherwise looks like its people simply packed up and walked away, leaving you to wonder what you would have carved, if you knew it was the only message anyone would ever find.